Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
Local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music. Mike and Marty on the beat. Mike and Marty. Mike and Marty.
Morning, Bellows Falls in Rockingham, and welcome to the feed. It's Mike and Marty, and we're here today with J.R. Layne. We're going to be talking about some recovery efforts that are happening here in Bellows Falls. Some things that we have been on the road for a while, and they're finally coming to fruition, and it's pretty exciting.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
First, Marty with local events.
So this evening at the Bellows Falls Opera House is an evening with David Sedaris. Starts at 7:30, and I believe there's still tickets available. And I think it's going to be a pretty good show. I'm not familiar with him.
I think so. I've heard people
a lot of
coming up
people
from
really
down
like him,
south
yeah.
even because
Yeah.
it's
So it'll be
he's
nice to
pretty-
have some activity in town. Then there's lots of things happening this weekend. The Moose Lodge is having a community fall festival and crafts fair that starts at 10 a.m. They're going to have food, crafts, and music. They have Rust and Ruin from 12 to 3. And then they have, drum roll please, Intercept from 8 to 11, doing their last show of the season. So this is your last
Their last
chance.
summer show.
Their last summer
I
show.
can't say that's the summer season is winding down.
It's true. It's officially done because
Yeah.
today's the first
Today's
day
the
of fall.
first day of fall.
Well, I know. So this is a little
They're a
over
little
and
over,
this may be the
over.
first show of fall.
Their
Maybe
first
we
of their
should-
fall. Really quick fall season. One show
Yeah.
done. One and done. And then the Nature Museum out in Grafton. This is the weekend that they're doing their Fairy House Festival. It's from 10 to 4. That's a great place for kids, and it's all outdoors. So it's a good COVID-friendly event. And if you're looking for something unique to do, Sherwin Art Glass is hosting the New England Paperweight Collectors Association exhibition. It's a mouthful to say.
Yeah.
So if you're into paperweights, there'll be all kinds of different paperweights at Sherwin Art Glass from 10 to 3:30 on Saturday, the 25th.
Yeah, Chris has been making and collecting paperweights for quite a while now, so
Yeah.
it should
I
be
mean,
interesting.
it's just worth the trip in anyway,
Yeah,
because he's got
yeah.
beautiful stuff,
Excellent.
so it's totally worth the trip.
And tomorrow night,
Tomorrow night?
you failed to mention.
Well, I figured I would let you have your
Tomorrow
glory.
night, locally produced and directed and edited and everything.
Everything.
Called to Duty, a documentary about the Star Hotel fire that occurred 40 years ago. It is a story told by the firefighters who were there and the people that were there. I highly recommend it, and I hope that you'll come. It's a fundraiser for the Memorial Park, which if you have been downtown, you see they've poured
They're doing a great
these
job.
fantastic looking little paver stone things, and it's really coming together, but it needs to be paid for. So if you could come tomorrow night, it's by donation, 7:30 at the Opera House.
Nice. Hope to see the
Yeah.
Opera House full, actually.
I do too.
Or and if you can't make it, you can still donate. So go to there's a GoFundMe page. Go there, or you can just send money directly to the fire station. And if you aren't comfortable going, because we should probably address that, there might be some
Yeah.
people that aren't comfortable, there will be DVDs available.
Yeah, that's true. And there may be another showing later on. We never know.
You never know.
All right.
Take it on the road, you could see it,
And
Anyway.
don't forget the Recovery Gala on Friday
Well,
night.
yes,
Yes,
that's
that's-
what we're waiting for you
Yeah,
to tell
I
us.
can't wait to to let the public know.
Yeah, so J.R. Layne, I hope everyone remembers him.
Hi, everybody in the Falls area. It's good to be back. When I came in a few minutes ago, I felt like I was coming home. It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have you back.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to have people in studio again. It's just a different vibe for the show.
Yeah.
And we are all vaccinated, by the way,
Yes,
just letting
yes.
everyone know.
We are we
We
are
wear masks.
responsible. We have our masks.
Yeah.
I have one here somewhere.
But we are responsible, and this is it. But tell us about Turning Point South, because I remember a young J.R. Layne coming in years ago, back when things were getting started, and he was like, "We need to have a Turning Point South," and now we do. So tell us about
I
it.
grew my hair and beard just for effect. So I have grown. I've aged quite a bit since then.
It's been a couple
It's
years.
been a couple years. Yeah, when I was working As a representative of Turning Point Recovery Center in Springfield here, using one of the offices, having a satellite office here, so that, people who are suffering with substance use disorder had someone to turn to in this community. Transportation, of course, is an issue for people who are out actively sick with that disease. So we needed to have somebody here in Bellows Falls.
Definitely.
Excitingly, that gained momentum, and now we have a recovery center, a drop-in center that's open 5 days a week, where people can come and have access to not only recovery supports, but a safe place to be.
Yeah. And where is that?
That is the carriage house behind Parks Place.
Oh, really good.
Yeah, so in between George Street and School Street, right next to the elementary school in Bellows Falls.
That's a really nice setting.
It certainly
You guys
is, man.
live-
It's a beautiful, and it's so warm and welcoming. You guys got to come see.
It's also private too, so if
Yeah.
someone, you're not having to go through Parks Place to get to it, because you have your own entrance, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
we do. Yeah,
And
it's
there's
a
a parking lot.
completely
Yeah.
separate building.
Yeah, and I think that's
Yeah.
important for, if someone's kind of nervous about going,
Yeah,
then it's nice to know that you literally can walk right into your location.
that's right. And we're closely aligned with Parks Place. Parks Place is still the heartthrob of this community in terms of community resources. And we utilize those resources as well. So if a person came in to talk to me about their disease of substance use disorder, 9 times out of 10, putting down the drug or the drink isn't the only problem, right? That's the beginning. From there, they're going to need supports in multiple
all kinds of-
disciplines,
yeah.
wraparound supports, and they're available to you at TP South.
Yeah.
Yeah.
TP South.
TP South, Turning Point
Oh,
South.
man.
That's what we
Yeah,
endearingly call it.
So you might not want to call it TP South.
Turning Point South. All
Turning
right.
Point South. We are still as part of the same organization of Turning Point Recovery Center of Springfield. I say that proudly because it's such a wonderful organization. We offer so many different ways of aiding people that are actively suffering from substance use disorder, from recovery coaching to transportation to support to housing. We cover the whole gambit. We are here for you.
Yeah. And there's a whole range of programs, right? I mean, it's not, and I don't want to say it in a minimal way, it's not just a drop-in center. It's like there is, you were telling me, supportive outreach,
Yep.
there's parenting with, you have all these other programs that are,
Yep.
and vocational sort of programs, and, yeah, so tell
And
us,
we need
tell
your
us
support,
more.
folks. We do. There is more. There's so much more. We're having groups there. We have AA meetings there. We're setting up a Narcotics Anonymous meeting. There hasn't been one in the area for quite some time. It's our hope that in the future we'll have Al-Anon for family support as well. We currently work in a group called FAR that's just starting up. That's Families, Addiction, and Recovery. That also is support for family members of those who are suffering with this disease. Because, as you all know, it manifests itself and presents itself as something completely illogical. The behavior is often criminal and very hurtful. And it's hard to understand until you're in a group where we can discuss the characteristics of the disease, and that it is a disease. That the people who have it actively, or are using drugs and alcohol uncontrollably, that is their main endeavor for the moment, right? Because of their sickness, and so the behaviors that go along with it often are unexplainable unless you understand that it's a situation where they're powerless over their behavior.
Yeah.
I think it's also important to point out that because you're a recovery center and you have a lot of different programs and you have a lot of different modalities that you can offer people to maybe, I think people traditionally think of just the 12-step programs,
Right.
which is certainly part of what you offer there.
Certainly.
But with the peer coaching, that's not just 12-step. It's actually slightly different from 12-step.
Completely
correct?
different. That's completely different. That's an engagement where a recovery coach and an individual participant who has substance use disorder gets to do like one-on-one. But it's really talking about that disease. It's not psychotherapy. It's not counseling. It's very, very different. We're there to listen, which is oftentimes something that they don't experience. You know, it's so difficult sometimes for them to have people that will listen to them. without judgment and without ridicule, and just empathize with the pain that they're struggling with. It's called peer-to-peer work, and it's been amazingly successful. And yes, we offer that. We have multiple coaches within the organization. I think we're almost up to 20
Wow.
Oh, great.
coaches.
That's come a long way too from when I can
Absolutely.
remember when we were
Like
just,
2 or 3, yeah.
starting to talk about, and we actually had one of the first trainings here, right? Didn't when we host one of the first trainings, Mike Johnson came
Yeah,
down.
I think so.
Yeah, and that was probably like 4 or 5 years ago.
Maybe.
So that's great that it's come a long way.
Mike's been doing it for a decade, but you're right.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it was like Mike Johnson, Larry Beach, who also supervised the recovery coaches for Turning Point of Springfield, and Brandy, which is another employee of
remember
ours. It
Brandy.
was just really the three of them, and the organization has grown so much. You can look at that as a positive, and you can see it
It's
as
true.
a negative,
It's
right?
true, because the
Because
need, but
the
I think
need.
the need was
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
The need was always there. So I think that you're behind the curve, and when the more people you have, maybe you'll catch up and get ahead of the
Trying
curve.
to get ahead of the curve.
And then there won't be maybe as much of a need.
Absolutely, because this disease is killing our people. It's killing our children, our parents, our neighbors. You know,
Talk about your outreach program. That's actually a good segue.
absolutely, it is a good segue because that's kind of what started it. 3 years ago, it started as a project, a pilot project in Springfield, just with law enforcement and Springfield Turning Point, where law enforcement would respond to an overdose, and they would send a referral to us to engage with that participant within 72 hours. That has since grown quite a bit. It's been 3 years that we've been doing it. Now we have community partners in Windsor, Bellows Falls, Chester, Ludlow, Weathersfield. It's grown quite a bit. As you know, people are dropping from overdoses every single day, sometimes multiple times a day, even in this small rural community. It truly is an epidemic, and we are trying to get ahead of the curve. We're trying to save lives. And so when a person overdoses, our hope is with those community partners, they would hit a link on our website and send in a referral for that individual, and then we can engage with them within 72 hours.
And when you say engage with them, how does it talk us through that?
What does that look like? It can look so many different ways. But
Okay, the average.
ideally, in a perfect world, it means here we have an individual who is at high risk, who's using dangerous narcotics every single day. They're threatening their life with each use. And like I said, in a perfect world, with our engagement, we get to intervene and stop that process, hopefully, and point that individual towards a life in recovery. Being in recovery myself, what does that entail? Well, first of all, it entails putting down the substance. But at that point, there's so much mess to clean up, right? And that's the importance of community awareness, talking to all of you, where you understand that this disease causes us to destroy every relationship we have, everything around us, in a lot of cases materially as well as emotionally and psychologically. It destroys whole families. And getting ahead of that curve would mean supporting that family as well as that individual. Even if they're in a place where they're not quite ready to put down the substance, at least we get to plant seeds with them and discuss it openly.
And I think is this also part of the program that Greater Falls Connections helps you guys
Greater
with?
Falls Connection is a community partner of ours in that program, yes. And we're community partners like that. Say Fact TV became a community partner. Hypothetically, you could. And what that means is, like, you're not law enforcement, you're not EMS, you're not responding to overdose. So any referrals you send to us would be intervention. And that's really where we need to get to. Family members can hit that link. Anyone can hit that link. Send us the referral. We can engage that person, and we can also engage the family.
Yeah, and I think isn't that where Greater Falls Connections come in? Don't they have some youth
They're working
peer
with
counseling?
youth.
Yeah.
Their whole focus is intervention and prevention. So they want to stay. They're at a place where they started and want to stay ahead of the curve, so to speak. Stopping this disease from manifesting itself in our children
Right.
over and over.
Becoming
again.
generational.
Absolutely.
Trying to
It
stop
is
that.
generational, and oftentimes it's the behavior, right? It's these kids growing up watching their parents use these drugs, not understanding how dangerous it is. It becomes a lifestyle, It's normalized for that child.
Yeah, because that's
And
all they've been exposed to, yeah.
That's all they've been exposed to, and of course, they need support.
Mhm. So when you talk about interventions, what are classic interventions?
Classic intervention would be like the work Greater Falls Connection is doing, where they're engaging the children. They're openly talking about the fact that they have family members with substance use disorder, and openly talking about maybe the behaviors that's associated with that, so that they realize it's not normal. They realize that it's part of a malady. Obviously, we talk to the youth age appropriately, but we try to describe, a situation where they have the opportunity to change that, as they grow older. And unfortunately, they're traumatized by what they've seen. So there's also that part, where if wraparound services are needed, at least with engagement and contact, we can see that. And we can, and hopefully get them the support they need.
So you've given me another good segue. So another aspect of kind of the same type of intervention is your Parenting with Respect course.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that.
My passion, because it's a course just for dads. Parenting with Respect for dads. Most of the dads that participate in that program are referred to us through Department of Children and Families, and so they're already in the system. They're at risk of losing their children because of behaviors that they've manifested in with their disease or with the intergenerational trauma that you were just talking about. We get to teach them a different way of parenting, a parenting that they're not familiar with, because first of all, with generational trauma, what they're taught is abuse, right? What they're taught could be violent. What they're taught could be a non-respectful relationship with their children, and they don't know any different, so they're not necessarily wrong, right?
They're just doing what they know.
They're just doing what they know. We're there to teach them something different, and that modality is really focused on three things. The first thing is knowing your child's developmental stage. It's so important, right? And a lot of the dads that come to this course don't. And so what you see is, let's talk about discipline. What you see is you got an 8, 9, 10-year-old child being disciplined as if they were 13, 14, or 15, because that age appropriateness isn't there. That knowledge of where they are developmentally just is not there. And so we teach that. That's hugely important. From 0 to 18. We discussed that at length. The other thing is making amends. When we make mistakes with our children, it's imperative that we hold ourselves accountable and we make amends for that. And, that's just not in people's radar.
No.
So that's really important that we discuss that in the class. And then lastly is communicating with respect. And that covers so much, where you're crossing the blurred lines of domestic violence to neglect, all you got to do is change your mentality and start talking to your children with a level of respect, and all of that almost immediately dissipates.
What's the biggest barrier you guys are finding with the Parenting with Respect course?
Funding.
I lobbed you
We
that
need
one.
money.
I lobbed you that one.
And the same can be said for Turning Point South. We need community support. We need you to contribute to this cause. We need your financial backing. Yes, absolutely.
Because you are, I believe that with the Parenting with Respect course, every session you do is more than full, right? You have to turn people away. So there's definitely a need. And it seems to me that if people are at that point where they want to engage with you, they should be able to.
They should be able to, right? And the thing too, right? I tell my participants when I'm screening them before the class that there really is only one prerequisite for being a participant, and that is that you love your children. That you have to, love your kids, because what you're doing is changing in such a way that core beliefs are being questioned. And that's very difficult to do. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of energy, and, and so that work becomes a labor of love, though, if it's clear about the love that you have for your child. And these men love their children. They love their children unconditionally, and they're willing, in most cases, to go to any lengths to not only keep their relationship with the children alive and connected, but to be a dad, to be a participatory dad in that child's life.
We're down to about probably 2 minutes left because we want to. I think we'll end with the video.
Oh, yeah.
We have a video.
Awesome
that-
video.
Yeah, that we almost forgot. I know we
Everything
we got
except
deep
for the
into
part
We were gonna
that
start
I'm
with
in.
the video.
I'm
we got deep
involved
in
in.
discussion, so it's a really well done video. So we've got about 2 minutes. So how? Give us the contact information. The date and time information, and how to go to the Recovery Gala or be in the Recovery Gala.
Yeah,
or
because the
something.
Yes.
Recovery Gala is your fundraiser, right?
The Recovery Gala is not a fundraiser.
Oh.
It is free to the community. It is free.
Never mind.
Understand? If you wanted to attend and have a good time and listen to some good live music and see some awards being passed out to people who are so deserving. The whole purpose of this event is to really congratulate and celebrate the people in the work. We have very little time to do that, and we really don't. Burnout rate is super high for those of us that work in this industry because of the emotional ties that it comes with. It's just a lot of high energy emotionally always. And for people like myself who are in recovery, which a lot of us are, right? And that's really what brings our value is our lived experience. Everything is personal. It doesn't matter what it is. It's personal. I've been there. I've been there. I've been incarcerated. I've had issues where I've been separated from my children for long lengths of time. My disease was such when it was active that now being in recovery, I had a lot of amends to make. I had a lot of so all the stuff that I'm working with other people, I've experienced myself. I've already been there, and that can be said for like 90% of us, right? And so once a year, we want to take a night where we get to celebrate those of us doing the work, and it's so needed. And when I say those of us doing the work, I'm not talking about just recovery professionals. I'm talking about people like you, Mike, and you, Marty, who support Turning Point in such a diligent way. I'm talking about law enforcement, DCF, all the people that come in contact with those who are suffering from substance use disorder should be celebrated and given the credit for the work that they
And
do.
where is it, and how do people go to it?
So that's going to be at the Nolan Murray Center in Springfield, Vermont.
Okay, where's that?
And that's just off of Pleasant Street, downtown. Please look it up because don't take, if I give you directions, you're gonna end up in Weathersfield.
Okay, is it a new location?
No, it's actually
Oh.
been there quite a bit. It's
Okay.
Yeah.
I should have been more prepared.
Is
as
it part
far
of
as
the?
giving
Is it part of
directions.
the Gear Shaper, the old Gear Shaper complex? that
No,
across
it's
the
actually
bridge?
part of the church. The
Oh,
Catholic
okay.
church is there.
Okay, didn't know that. Oh yeah. I know where it is. Okay, I know where it is. Never mind.
Yes,
I never knew it had a name. Okay, so it's there, and it's what time?
and it starts at 7.
Okay, is there an online component? Is there an online version?
There
of
is
Zoom in?
there is going to
Okay.
be a live streaming component that will be on YouTube.
Okay.
And so for those of you that don't want to be amongst people or haven't been vaccinated, you can definitely dial in by video. Please do. It's going to be great.
Awesome.
Great.
So we are literally out of time if we want to show the video. So we'll say
Okay, goodbye.
goodbye, and then
And
they
enjoy
will
the
go
video.
to video.
Till the next time. See you next time.
Yes. See you next
My
week.
name is Melinda. My name is Raylan.
My name is William.
I am Melissa.
My name is JR.
My name is Sarah. My substance use really started with nicotine, and it progressed to drinking alone.
I started drinking and drugging, starting with marijuana, using a little cocaine at 14 or so.
I think my first time was like 12 years old.
You know, it wasn't long after beginning using that I noticed that became my priority.
My only purpose was to drink. I had like no control.
Whether I was worth helping or not is something that I didn't have it within me. And I felt, I think, on a subconscious level and then oftentimes on a very conscious level that I was not worth it. I was worthless. I had no value.
The stigma I have on myself was I'm a bad person. I'm a bad mother.
And I even had my own family making bets on my sobriety.
I was doing a lot of things that I was shameful for and still am. What I didn't know is that I had a disease and that I was powerless to that disease and I needed treatment.
I knew underneath that I had a problem, without a doubt. The stigma, rather, around substance use disorder really keeps us in the dark. Having like that one small little pinpoint of light, of hope you know, saying, all right, I'm going to try.
Today I'm proud to be in recovery. I'm proud to be one of those people, one of the people in recovery, one of the people that has survived substance use disorder and found a new meaning of life and is able to help others.
As hard as it seems right now, it does get better. I know they always say that, but it really does.
As I get more well, I see more clearly the need for fellowship.
I have a connection with individuals today like I've never had before.
A support system is so crucial. This can't be, recovery can't be achieved without them.
There are days that are extremely, extremely hard. On those days, I'm so grateful for my people, for my family, my recovery family.
In a life of feeling disconnected, I finally feel connected to individuals who can identify with things I've been through, right? Like in the process, and also to support you, it's strength-based, in a way that is non-judgmental. The recovery community has become my family, and it offers hope.
Local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music. Mike and Mike.